Club. I am here with Mark Richards.
Hi.
Introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about the books while we get everybody signed in, logged in, whatever.
Do I see the questions as they come up?
You do, but you don't get to ask them. I do.
How exciting! Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know me, my name's Mark Richards, and I started when lockdown struck. I lost 2 clients in my day job. I ran out of excuses not to write a novel and had to start writing one to fill the time, and wrote Salt in the Wounds, which is the first book in my Michael Brady series. Had no idea whether I could write a novel, whether it would be any good. But now there's Salt in the Wounds, there's The River Runs Deep, there is The Echo of Bones, and Choke Back the Tears is the 4th one in the Michael Brady series, plus a couple of novellas, plus the 5th one, The Edge of Truth, will be out before Christmas. I faithfully promise anybody that's waiting for it. So that's it. And so I created this character and set these books in Whitby, and it has now just effectively taken over my life. Michael Brady is as much a part of me as my right leg. I'm going to get divorced because all I do is talk to my wife about the books. That's all we talk about. And I go in and she's busy doing something or she's watching TV. And I say, if you're not doing anything, darling, I'd just like to talk about the plot for 5 minutes, if you don't mind. So that's it. And, you know, UK CBC is really good and met some really good, interesting, nice people through that. And I, as the author, I really enjoy interacting with the readers. That's a real pleasure.
And well, I'm going to start with, because almost everybody that I was expecting initially, lots and lots of people here, lots of hellos from all of the usual people that we probably both talk to a lot.
Okay, well, I can't see any of those. So,
oh, are you on your phone?
I'm on my phone, yeah, so I can't.
You won't get to see the comments. Okay, so let me give you a quick run through. So we've got Vic Dolan here. I know Vic's tagged Roz Brennan. Let me have a look at who this is. We've got a hi Mark, but I can't see who it is. So here we go.
Okay, so Vic.
We've got Laura, we've got Kaz, we've got lots and lots of people. Leslie said hello. I know Kaz has been in Whitby today for Dad's birthday, so happy birthday, David.
Yeah. Well, just say hello to everybody. And Vic, I promise that we'll get finished by 8 o'clock, because I know Manchester United kick off at 8 o'clock. So we faithfully get you there for the kickoff of that game.
Absolutely.
Can't do any more than that.
How many fingers is it for Scouts Honour? Is that it?
I've no idea.
It's been a while. So when we first were introduced, you sent me a message one day introducing yourself because you're a new group member and wanting to see if I was interested in an interview. And you sent me a link to the book so I could have a look. I was thinking, right, I'll have a quick look, but I've really not got time to read this today. I'll put it away for nearer the interview. And then I read the blurb, and then I read the opening chapters, and I didn't move off the couch all day. Had no time to read Salt in the Wounds, but could not do anything but. And that was it. I was smitten from the first book.
I love that. When it's the sort of people give you real detailed reviews of it, of books and things like that. But when somebody says to you, I didn't do any housework for a week because I was reading this book,
I know this was one Saturday, literally just a Saturday afternoon.
Like that. That's when you get a sort of real life comment like that. It's really quite. I love it, And as I said to you before, the chance, and I do, if any readers ever drop me a note or anything like that, and some people will know that I've got a reader group of my own. That readers are really important, and it's the only way you get feedback. And of course, readers are really important. Good job that this is going out a lot. but the feedback from readers is important, and it's also good fun, and it's a good part of the if you want to call it a job, it's a good part of the job is engaging with the readers, because by doing that you get, and when I write now, when I'm writing a Brady scene, I've got a very clear idea of who the readers are, and for example, in book 4, Brady, as you know, Mike Brady's wife died before the series started. So in book 4, he's finally getting a bit of romance back into his life, and I know how far I can go with that. And I know, I don't need to write sex scenes or anything like that, because I know the readers don't particularly need it, Besides which, we've been married for 30 years, so I've forgotten how to write a sex scene anyway,
You've not done sex scenes per se, but there are scenes.
Sorry?
You've not done sex scenes per se, but there are scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
We call it heavy petting. Is that what we're calling it?
Light
petting.
I don't think they don't get that far. I kind of leave it to the reader's imagination as to what's going to happen.
No, I was thinking right at the beginning of Choke Back the Tears.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the big thing I think the big thing that Brady's going to have to deal with, if we're talking about heavy petting, I did loads of preparation for this interview. I've been prepping for it all, and I haven't got heavy petting anywhere on my notes, so you caught me out there. The big thing that he is going to have to deal with is when Ash has her first serious boyfriend. And I think, that's not very long delayed. Mike Brady's relationship with Ash is very much based on my own relationship with my daughter Eleanor when she was 15, 16. It's we didn't get on terribly well, and I don't think it's any secret that her first boyfriend, I would cheerfully have sold him to white slave traders. Her first serious boyfriend. What was his name?
Don't give him any publicity.
Going to have therapy now for even thinking about him, but you go through these stages with your kids, don't you? And you think you'll never come out of the other side, and 10 years later, it's all fine. But I think for insofar as sex scenes go in the book, it's going to be much more problematic for Mike Brady dealing with his daughter. Because I've given them this new house in Whitby at the end of Henrietta Street, and just the most fantastic views out over the harbour and the North Sea. But Ash has got the top floor all to herself, so Brady's going to wonder what's going on up there,
So I hope it just stays in wondering.
Yeah, we'll see. But he's doing all right at the moment. But they're unquestionably going to go through a few ups and downs, as most fathers and daughters do over when they're 15, 16.
We've got a few more hellos, but I can't see all of them. So hello to anyone who said hello that we've missed.
Okay, yeah.
Vic said she's awaiting Ash's new boyfriend.
Right, okay.
No. Will said, loved Salt in the Wounds and Whitby.
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate with choosing Whitby. And as most people know, I live in Scarborough, so Whitby's 20 miles up the road. But it's just got a very strong sense of place as Whitby, with Captain Cook, Dracula, fish and chips, English seaside town, fishing, the Abbey, Heartbeat, everything else. It's got a really, really good sense of place as Whitby. And whereas Scarborough, I don't think it's quite as strong. And I like going up to, everybody knows this by now, I like going up to Whitby on my research trips and eating far too many plates of fish and chips. But I haven't been for a while, because obviously the middle of the summer is not the time to go and wander around Whitby,
So let's talk about, it's actually further down my list. So I saw a quote today on Twitter that was shared by Lisa Sell, who's another author, and it's by Kevin Ansbro, and I've written it down because I knew I wouldn't remember it word for word. And it says, books are the flung open windows to parallel universe. at university. So that leads nicely onto the alternate Sam Brownlee.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you were really, really helpful to me when I started writing, and so as a thank you, I wanted to put in a character called Sam Brownlee. Yeah. And she's in Choke Back the Tears. I found it really, really interesting giving a character a name of somebody that I knew quite well. I mean, obviously we've never met, but we've spoken any number of times.
Yeah, we speak quite regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually found it quite difficult to write the character because I was thinking too much of you and not letting the character develop. I mean, but probably my favorite character, if you take out Ash and Frankie and Dave and things, probably my favorite character is Ruby in The Echo of Bones. Now, I had no idea of Ruby. I had absolutely no idea of Ruby until I started writing about her. And then I sort of let her open her mouth, and she appeared almost fully formed on the page in front of me. And once she'd sort of spat in a cup of tea and established the relationship with Brady, she was there and she was finished. And I love Ruby to bits as a character, so much so that I've kept her in book 4. And I will bring her back at some point in the future because I just think she's a really, really strong character. So Ruby developed gradually as I was writing it. Sam Brownlee, the character, I had to write about her for quite a while before Sam Brownlee, the character, took over from Sam Brownlee, the real person. And then she did it, and I mean, she actually got in that book a much bigger part than I thought originally that she would have, and she got some nice one-liners as well. About some women are attracted by a nice tight bum, and I'm attracted by the smell of fish. I thought that was the best one-liner in the book. So I would be very cautious of doing that again. I don't know if she's listening or watching, but if you take Donna Morfitt,
I think Donna just commented, "This is why he won't write me into a book now, Sam."
Right? No, I won't, because I know Donna really, really well, and it would be very difficult. But I do like using real people's names as characters because I think it's really nice. For somebody to be in a book, readers like it. It saves you the trouble of trying to find names because I don't think I'm very good at that. So in the last book, I used 3 or 4 people out of UK CBC, and as I'm writing the 5th one, I'm very conscious that I've got parts in inverted commas that I can use UK CBC members for. I've used Vic Dolan as a character in the 5th book, and I think it's I think I can reveal without giving too much of the plot away that she only figures briefly as a 15-year-old schoolgirl who gets pregnant. So there you go.
Well, Vic.
But yeah, that works really well. And just off the top of my head, in the last book, Jean Cullum, who's a UK CBC member, she had a little part in the book, and that worked really well. But I did have to write about the fictional Sam Brownlee before she took over from the real Sam Brownlee. But yeah, it was good. It was a good experience, a good learning experience for me. So plenty more people will feature in the books, but I probably won't do somebody that I know really, really well. Virtually, obviously, as as an author, I have no real friends. Don't actually meet people in real life or anything like that. Just sit here in my room all day. So yeah, it's good. It's good. And I might even bring Sam Brownlee back, because certainly her husband, Bobby, who
there's more life in Bobby yet, sadly.
Yeah. Bobby's main characteristic as a man is that what did she say? You can hit double top and get pissed afterwards. But in the fifth book, Brady goes off onto the moors and finds the place where Bobby Brownlee went walking, and finds it restful and peaceful, and it's like
it does sound idyllic. It really does.
Honestly, Sam, it is the most beautiful place. It is the most beautiful place. What you do is you drive from Scarborough to Whitby, you park in a lay-by halfway, you cross the road and you walk up onto what is the final mile and a half of the lightweight walk. And you're walking towards this giant radio mast, and it is absolutely deserted. And at one point, the moor drops away, and you can see down to Robin Hood's Bay and Ravenscar, and it is just beautiful. And then this pond, tarn, whatever you'd call it, comes up out of nowhere, and you can't hear a thing, and it is just beautiful. I find that I must be getting properly old now, because I find silence a real. I love silence, and just the peace that comes with it. And this spot on the moors is just it's like idyllic. It really is, So Brady goes there with Archie in the next book. So I expect next time I go, there'll be hundreds of readers there saying, "This is what."
You're going to have to stop telling everyone your favourite places.
I know. Well, what I'm doing is I am. So many people have said, I went to Whitby.
This is a question for the end.
Oh, right. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go on.
No. We'll do it at the end. You crack on with more questions.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I do keep trying to mute the microphone. I don't know if the lemonade bubbles are making it better or worse.
I'm just drinking water, although I'm going to
have water as well.
Yeah, after this.
I would like to point out to anyone who has or hasn't read the book yet, the only two things that me and Sam Brownlee have in common are we both wear scarves in all weather, but different reasons. And we do both have roots, but mine are grey and hers are brown with the blonde hair. You have put me off dyeing my hair blonde.
Okay.
Which is probably a good thing, because I would probably look a bit like a ghost. But no, we should go into the guidebook that you are going to write. So go on. We've hinted at it, so let's do it.
Well, I feel sort of slightly embarrassed at this, in that people have said to me, I've read the books, and so I've been to Whitby. And I find this slightly, struggling to come to terms with that. But so many people have said to me, where exactly is the alley where Patrick got murdered in the first book, or whereabouts is Dave's bacon sandwich shop? That what I've started to do is write Michael Brady's Guide to Whitby, just featuring some of the history of the town and sort of 20 odd places that are in the book, so that if people do go, that they can read about them, and they can read about the history of them, and wander around the town, actually finding the places that are mentioned in the book. So I'm going to give this book away for free when I've written it, in the hope that it will drive more people to read the books. I hope that works as a marketing ploy. But I've really enjoyed writing it. I've been researching. I've even researched the origins of fish and chips. The Whitby whaling industry. Why is the alley where Patrick was murdered? Why has it got the title, the name that it's got? And I've really, really enjoyed it. And I need to go back to Whitby and do a lot of research for it. Walk up the 199 steps. The history of Henrietta Street, where Brady Brady's houses. That's quite interesting. Grape Lane, which is going to be a setting in one of the next books, the ghost story that I'm going to write. The history of that. So it's really, really interesting. And this little book, I think, will be maybe 15,000 words, something like that. I'll do it as a PDF as well as a book, so that people can open it on their phone and just wander around Whitby and the surrounding countryside and find everything. And as I say, I do find it slightly embarrassing that people say to me, "Oh, I've made a special trip to Whitby to see these places," but it's just a lovely, lovely town, and so we'll see how the guidebook does. I mean, it's going to be the worst guidebook in the world, because it's going to be a guidebook to Whitby without a single mention of Whitby Abbey. Because nothing's happened there yet, but it won't feature Whitby Abbey, but it will feature a sort of indiscriminate little alley that leads from Church Street down to the beach. So yeah, that was the one that I was researching when I did that masterful video, which we used for.
If it was the same alleyway.
Promotion. The BBC incredibly still haven't been in touch with me. They must have seen that video by now, where I fall down the steps, but I don't know. Bear Grylls must be getting to the end of his shelf life, surely.
Well beyond it, if you ask me. Are you going to update the guidebook as you add? Will you add in kind of extra chapters?
Yes. I think what I've got to do is get it to a certain stage where I can publish it now, where it will cover the first 4 or 5 books, and then as I do a 6th, 7th book, and new places come in, I'll just add those in, and if it's a PDF or something like that, you can just update the PDF. So, for example, quite a lot of the 5th book takes place in Brunswick Bay, which is a village just up the coast, and quite a lot of holiday homes there. So I'll do a bit of the history of Brunswick Bay. I found researching the history really, really interesting, and I found the folklore of the area and the ghost stories that somebody was telling me, really quite interesting.
You're going to write one, aren't you, for Christmas? The Brady short.
Because I saw that at UK CBC Christmas ghost stories, and I thought, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I can get the right level of suspense into it and tell the story in maybe 10,000 words, something like that, which is difficult for a crime book, because you've got to have. You've got to have the crime, you've got to have the investigation, you've got to have the climax, and so you've got to stick to the basic principles, the basic framework of a crime book, but you've got to weave the ghosts into it at the same time, and also give it a Christmas theme. And I think you're probably going to try and inject a little bit of extra humor into that one with it. But again, what I see for that is it's just a kind of thank you to people for supporting the books, and so it will be free to download in the period up to Christmas. I might sell it for 99 pence after Christmas, but just as a as a thank you. They have this really nice tradition in Iceland, where on Christmas Eve they give each other books. And they essentially they spend Christmas Eve reading a book and drinking hot chocolate. Sounds like a pretty good way to spend Christmas Eve to me.
Any night, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping with that, it's a bit like the Mike Brady novellas. That people can just sit down, open a glass, pour a glass of wine or hot chocolate or whatever, and just plow through it from beginning to end. But I'm looking forward to that. I've got a rough plot. I've done my ghost research and stuff like that. The ghost.
Is it present day, Brady, or is it another time?
No, it will be present day. So
okay.
it will fit into the Brady series. As whether I'll put it in the series or not, I'm not entirely sure. I probably need some Amazon marketing genius to tell me whether to do that or not, because it would be a short story going in right in the middle of it. But I don't know if I put it in the series, Amazon will promote it more. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just, but the Ghosts of Whitby. I mean, there's one poor old nun, Constance de Beverley, who was a nun, and she fell helplessly in love with a handsome, dashing knight, renounced her vows of chastity, and she was bricked up in the walls of Whitby Abbey. So her ghost haunts Whitby Abbey.
I think Vic's got the better end of the deal here with her character. Wow.
Yeah. And I won't say too much more, because she only appears fleetingly, as most ghosts do, in the book. But the other two, that I won't say too much more about them, because they're central to the story.
Vic's laughing and saying thanks, Sam. Mills is looking. Hello, Mills. She's looking forward to the ghost story.
Okay, yeah.
And she wants to know, can you have a murder in the Dracula experience?
I don't know. I'm cautious about going too near Dracula. If you're talking, as you walk along that part of the seafront, I do quite fancy the idea of murdering somebody along that. I'm writing
about
a murder. Writing about a murder. I do quite fancy the idea of that part of the seafront. As you walk along the seafront past the Dracula experience, then you sort of just bend round to your left, and you go past can't remember her name, Gypsy Sarah the clairvoyant, and along towards the Magpie. That would be quite a nice setting, and you've got the steps leading down to the harbour and things. Yeah. But I don't want to. I don't want to sort of blend Dracula per se in at all. Although, interesting historical note is that when Dracula in Bram Stoker's novel came ashore at Whitby in the form of a black dog, he would have actually, the Dracula would have gone past the front door of Mike Brady's house. So there we are.
Can I just point out that when I'm joking about Donna, I think Donna should be the murderer, not the murder victim.
Well, we'll see.
She would absolutely love that. Vic wants to know if you would ever consider writing P-Zone Park in a book.
Would I put P-Zone Park in a book? Okay. That's a really, really simple question, and it's going to be a long, long answer. Okay. When I sat down to start writing Salt in the Wounds, I didn't know if I could write a full book. Okay. I didn't know if I could plot one. I didn't know if it would be any good. And then when I wrote one, I thought then the big thing was, could I write another? Okay. And then I thought, if I can write 6, I think that'll be pretty good. And I'll be happy with that. Of course, now I'm in the middle of writing number 5, and Brady's got a good response. I'm no more going to, I can't stop at 6. Okay, I can't stop at 6.
No, we know where you live and we'll find you.
Yeah.
Make you write more.
That said, I think by the time book 6 is done, we need to know who killed Grace. Okay, I don't think it's reasonable to spin that out any longer. Okay. Also, I'm a big believer in. There's a very good saying that the best crime fiction isn't about cops working on cases, but it's about cases working on cops. Yeah, I think that's a really, really good saying. And Brady is undoubtedly going to be affected by the cases that he's working on. So I think there's going to come a time when Mike Brady has run his course. Okay, now that's not going to be at least until book 10. Yeah. But if I feel that that I'm starting to repeat myself, or that the quality is slipping, then I'm going to stop and I'm going to do something else. Okay. I've also got the feeling that I would like to spin off one or two of the main characters into a separate series. Okay.
No, the smile.
Okay. Now, the obvious candidate for that is Frankie. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I love Frankie.
I love Frankie. Okay. I love Frankie. Okay. I've got a friend. I mean, you know, I haven't seen her for maybe 10 years. And she lives, she was a travel blogger. Okay. And she lives in, last I heard, she was living in Amsterdam. She settled down with an Australian guy. As all female travel bloggers seem to do. They seem to settle down with Australian guys. She's called Frankie Thompson. Okay. And I always thought to myself that it was a great name for a character. Yeah. So that's where I've pinched it from. In fact, what I've done, I've just taken the P out of Thompson. But I like Frankie. Okay. And I like Frankie a lot. And I think she's strong enough to be a main character. Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
I did introduce Dan Keeler at the end of Salt in the Wounds, thinking that he might be strong enough to become a main character as well. But he's never. It's an odd thing, you know. Ruby developed completely. You know, fully formed character. Dan Keeler, I've never really got Dan Keeler, and he's never developed in the way I expected. So Frankie could be a strong enough character. And when I was having discussions with publishers back at the beginning of the year, you know, one of the publishers said to me, "Oh, we'd like a female character and problems in her personal life, looking after her mother." You know, this reeled off a list of points, and if readers ever say lots of books are the same, well, damn it, the publishers have got a checklist that they want you to tick. So Frankie could do that, okay. And to answer Vic's question, could Frankie move to Scarborough? Yes, she could. Yeah. I mean, it would be slightly unrealistic in two high-ranking detectives being close to each other, but you know, I think readers will allow you that bit of license in terms of telling the story. So the options for Frankie are that she could move to Scarborough, she could move to Middlesbrough, although Middlesbrough is not a great place to go and do my research, you know. So Peastone Park, yeah, for sure. I'm sort of, in the fifth book, I'm sort of setting that up, you know, because Frankie's got a boyfriend now, and it looks like it's a reasonably serious relationship. So, you know, at some stage, Frankie's mother's died now. So at some stage, maybe this guy gets offered a job somewhere, and Frankie has to take the decision: does she go with him or doesn't she go with him? You know, or maybe just a promotion comes up and Frankie goes for it. You know, so I think that's possible. But you know, so one of the going back to the publishers, you know, they were talking about creating a new character, and I thought to myself, well, that's silly, you know, because I've already got Frankie, and why would I, you know, what, you know, I like Frankie a lot, yeah. And you know, she's strong, she's funny, she is determined, she's got faults, and you know, plus she's got this developing relationship with Ash as well, which is important. So yeah, I think the answer to Vic's question is that yes, that could happen, and it's probably about 50-50 at the moment. We'll just see how it develops. But but certainly having created Mike Brady series, I think if you're going to extend yourself and test yourself as an author, then you probably ought to go on and develop another series as well.
Maybe, but I do like the idea of Frankie. Excuse me, my voice is going. Excuse me. And it leads nicely into a two-part question that I've got for you. So, it's in book 2. I'm sure it's book 2.
The River
Runs Deep. In The River Runs Deep, yeah. That Frankie is stood outside a chippy rubbing her face on a wall to see if she can actually, if she can actually damage her face.
Yeah.
So A, have you done that?
Yes.
And B, have you got anything to add to our list of, fights on the end of Whitby Pier, things that authors have acted out?
I've done
Yours
that.
are still right up there as some of our favourite ones that we use as examples quite often.
I've done that. My wife talked me out of, obviously at the end of I won't say too much about the end of book 4 for people that might not.
No spoilers. I feel like you say too much.
I do believe in doing the research. I mean, I've got a huge amount of research to do for book 5, in terms of if you saw the first draft of it, the square brackets all over which say do the research. So yeah, I do believe in that because I think authors that do it off Street View are cheating. Plus, Street View doesn't give you the smell, it doesn't give you the sounds. If I say it's got takes you 10 minutes to walk took Brady 10 minutes to walk from A to B, then rest assured that I've done it. Choke about the tears. There was quite a lot of walking across the moors. At Ruby's house, the actual house where Ruby lives, I went up to the particular estate and picked out a house. So the steps going down into town and things, and you stand at the top of the steps and you can see right out over the moors. I did at one point think of having the body in that book buried in an allotment. There are some allotments just close to Whitby Abbey, and I did consider that, and I spent a lot of time researching what the best plants are, best flowers and vegetables are to grow if you've buried a body in your allotment. And I didn't actually use that research. But if anybody, if anybody wants to know what, perhaps if the husband's a bit irritating and they've decided that this weekend is the time to do it, if you do bury him in your allotment, your roses will do really well for the first couple of years because of the blood. Roses like blood. And then afterwards, it's brassicas that you need to plant. So cabbages, sprouts, cauliflowers, things like that, because as the body breaks down, according to my expert who gave me this information, who's a forensic scientist from the US, as the body breaks down, the chemicals it releases will do wonders for your cabbages and your sprouts.
Would you want to eat them?
Well,
it's one thing looking at glorious roses, but do we want to eat the dead husband?
Just think, that would give a certain something to eat in your sprouts on Christmas Day, wouldn't it? So we are. But yeah, I love the research. I absolutely love it, and I like the thing that I've got to do. I've got to go out fishing on a fishing boat, and I find it really, really interesting as well that if you just say to people, I'm a writer, can I do this? They just look at you as though you're slightly mad, and they say, yeah, I guess so, and it's good. Yeah, I mean, I did, I found the pub, the Golden Lion, where Brady goes to see Siobhan playing, and went in there and asked them and things. And I tell you what I like to do as well. I like to use real places, and I like to just sort of drop them into the book if I can, just as a way of saying thank you to the people who've helped with the research, because everybody is incredibly helpful. As I say, they do look at you as though you're slightly mad, but it's just a nice thing to do. So yeah, the research will just go on and on and on. It always I like going out and doing the research days. I like walking across the moors. I like being on the end of the pier. But yes, I did climb over the storm gate and walk to the end of the pier when I shouldn't have walked to the end of the pier, and I did climb over a fence and go trespassing on the railway line, and because I think you've got to get it right. You either get
Please
it right.
Don't do this at home. If you are an author, stay away from train lines.
Yeah. It was, yeah. Or don't stay away from train lines. Just check the timetable first.
No, mistakes happen. We don't trust timetables. Stay off the train lines.
Very true. Yes, the timetable of the North York Moors Railway is a little hit and miss.
Let's hope they miss. Will Templeton said, "Do you know Crossbutts, a beautiful hotel restaurant converted from stables just outside the town, makes a gorgeous wedding venue. Unfortunately, the marriages don't last." Did you get married there, Will? Is this what you're telling us?
I think I need to do that. Is just sort of go around some of the hotels and some of the bed and breakfasts and things like that in Whitby, and put a few of those in. There's a bed and breakfast called the Full English, which I think is just an absolutely brilliant name for a bed and breakfast.
Ros Brennan has asked, and I just had a quick look at my Facebook. I've got it open at the side just so I can see who the comments are from. Will Brady get married again? Can you even answer that?
Honestly, I don't know. I absolutely do not know. You might as well go one stage further from that, Ros, and say, will Brady become a father again? Honestly, I don't know. I just don't know. Mike Brady's 44. Siobhan is mid-30s. If they stay together, then who knows what might happen. So honestly, Ros, I just don't know. When I started writing, and I thought if I could get to the end of book 6, it would be Ash going off to university and Brady walking off into the sunset with somebody. Obviously, that's changed now. Ash is pretty settled on what she wants to do, and I think there's quite some good storylines in that. But will Brady get married again? I don't know. I really don't know. He certainly won't in book 5 or book 6. I think what obviously Brady's in a relationship with Siobhan now, but I think before Mike Brady can really move on and really commit to somebody else, he's got to know who was responsible for Grace's death. Yeah, he's got to. Clearly he's a guy in his mid-40s, and he was a reasonably good-looking guy and personable and things like that. So it's unrealistic for me to leave him celibate indefinitely. But I think he needs to lay his wife properly to rest and draw a line under that before he can really think about committing to anyone else.
And you have been dealing excuse me, you have been dealing with that beautifully. There's lots of really lovely moments, particularly in Choke Back the Tears, where some closure is slowly happening.
Yeah.
But it's not rushed and it's not unrealistic. It's really beautifully done.
I'm pleased you said that. Obviously I'm flattered by the fact that people like it. I think probably the most important scene in Choke Back the Tears.
Hold on, think it through before you tell me which one it is. Do you want to say it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, have most people read Choke Back the Tears?
I would say that we're hoping to find you some new readers as well as the good favourite gang of us.
Say it then. I won't say it, but I think.
But I can bet all the people, myself included, who have read it know exactly what you're referring to.
Right. Okay. So it's. Let me just say that it's on the beach. Okay.
Yeah. and then we'll move on to asking you about. Yeah, I am sweeping past. I want to ask you. You've touched slightly on social media earlier, and you have a great readers group, as you said. You're active across social media, mainly on Facebook, and you also, I see you in different author groups talking about data and things. You really drill into things and look for where you can improve. And you just seem to have such a good handle on it. How do you actually find it all?
Right. Shall I tell you what I think? I think I'm absolutely bloody useless at marketing. Okay. I have a theory that let me get this right. I have a theory that a bad book, well marketed, will outsell a good book, poorly marketed, and it will outsell it by a factor of 10 or 20 or 30. Okay. I don't do any advertising at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. And I should do. Okay, because I've got to, because I'm happy now that my books stand comparison. Okay, I think, without being vain, I do think my books stand comparison. Okay, I'm absolutely bloody useless at most things in human life. And if you want proof of that, just invite me to your house and ask me to do some DIY. Okay, so I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't play a musical instrument, I can't do DIY. Okay, I can cook spaghetti bolognese, and I think I can write a bit. Yeah, and that's pretty much the only talent that I have in life. Yeah, but I do think I'm okay at writing. Okay, but I think I'm absolutely poor. I was going to use a stronger word, but it's before the watershed, so I'll just say poor at marketing, and I need to get that right. Okay, now I do my best on Facebook and things and engaging with readers, and I enjoy chatting to readers. I really enjoy that. But I do, but obviously, I'm self-published. I don't have a publisher behind me, so I've got to do all the marketing myself. Yeah, and I think at some stage, to get to the next level, yeah. So to move, let's take Salt in the Wounds as an example. To move Salt in the Wounds from ranking, say, 20,000 in the UK to ranking 2,000 or 200, yeah. And I've read books that are ranking 200, and they're not as good as Salt in the Wounds, So
I've read them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've either got to do loads and loads of marketing, I've got to, or I've got to spend loads and loads on advertising, and I've got to get the advertising right, and I think at some stage that I'm going to have to bite the bullet. And I've obviously got clients still in the day job, that I think I'm getting to the stage with Mike Brady where I've got to say that I will get rid of my clients in the day job and take the hit to the income and focus solely on doing nothing but Mike Brady, and the spin-offs that go with it. I think, if you ask me, I think I'm getting to that stage now where I've probably got to consider doing that. Because I can write, and I think I'm probably at that stage that lots and lots and lots of authors are at, where they're just kind of on the cusp, so we'll see how that goes. We're going on holiday, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, and I'm going to sit and think and work out what to do, but I actually consider myself, and I do know the data, and I know, I mean, one thing that pleases me is that I'm now getting more readers in America than I used to. I mean, I'll give you some figures. If I go back to August 2020, 90% of my sales came from the UK. Okay. In August 2021, 80% of my sales came from the UK. In August 2022, about 60% of my sales are from the UK. So that's clearly moving in the right direction, because, you know, the Amazon US is 5 times bigger than Amazon UK, you know, so you can't really ignore it, you know. I'm starting to sell more books in Australia as well, which is nice. But then quite a few people know that my youngest son's girlfriend is from Melbourne. And I actually, honestly, Sam, I just think it's her extended family buying the books to see.
She can't have that many extended family. Take some credit, Mark.
I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, so I mean, it would be really interesting to, you know, to have this conversation on the 1st of September 2023 and see how the marketing's developed and see how Brady's developed, because you've got to carry on being ambitious about the books, you know. I mean, the audio books are going to be out. First 2 books.
Yeah, Lindsay Lim has asked that. She's asked, how's the search for a narrator for the audio book going?
Okay, so I got the first audio book narrator sample through last week, and that's one of the great things about my reader group. And if anybody wants to join my reader group, just send me a direct message and I'll send you the link to it. And the feedback from the reader group was pretty well unanimous that the voice that they'd sent just simply wasn't Mike Brady. You know, it was just, the guy sounded, he had a nice enough voice, and he was a good narrator. And, you know, and there you have, you know, pretty established actor reading your books, and that's really nice and makes you feel good. But the guy wasn't right. You know, and therefore I had to say that, and because you've got to get it right, you know. So how's the narrator doing? Well, we're waiting for the next batch of narrator samples to come through, and it would be really nice to have the audiobook out before Christmas, but I'd rather get it right and have exactly the right narrator than just go for anybody, just for the sake of having the books out quickly. I mean, the big thing that this guy got wrong was Ash. You know, he just didn't get the relationship between Brady and Ash correct. And somebody said to me, he's doing Ash as though he's never spoken to a teenager, and that was absolutely bang on. You know, so I will reject people until they get Ash right, because I think that's an absolutely fundamental part of the book. You know, it's got to get Brady right, it's got to get Ash right, it's got to get Frankie right. You know, that they're absolutely key characters. You know, so the search for the narrator goes on, and we will go on until we find the perfect person. There we go.
If we are going to let Vic go for 8 o'clock, we've got 3 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm going to ask you to give us just a quick recap. If you've got your book covers, please do show them off. And somebody said, Sam, you're going to sneeze. No, I'm coughing, and I'm desperately trying not to. And I made myself look rather more presentable than I did an hour before the interview. So fingers crossed that that I'm still good tomorrow and I can come out of isolation.
Yeah.
So let's see. So show off these books. And for anyone who hasn't read them, Salt in the Wounds, I read in one day when I didn't have time to read and I couldn't stop reading it. And then it was one of my top 10 books of the year that year. They are fantastic and I can't recommend them highly enough.
Right. I haven't got any to hand, Sam. Oh, here's one.
I've got them on my phone. I could show you book covers on my Kindle.
It's just, so that's what's The Echo of Bones is book 3 in the series, isn't it? That's my...
That's your favourite, isn't it? You have to go up and to the side of your head.
That's it. So that's The Echo of Bones. Okay, I've just started working with a new cover designer. That cover designer is in America, and it didn't really work out for me because of time differences and well. So I'm really, really, really pleased with the new cover designer, and she is in Leicestershire, and Leicestershire is on the same time zone as North Yorkshire, so that's good. I'll post the. I'm hoping that I'll have the fifth book on pre-order by the end of. Maybe not this week, but pretty soon. So I'll post that in UK CBC, and then people can see the cover of that. I really like the cover of that.
Let us know when, and one of us will happily give you permission for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've got to write the blurb tomorrow, the Amazon blurb for it, which is a really, really tough task. It's actually easier to write 3,000 words in first draft than it is to write 300 words of Amazon blurb. I'll do that. So that's going to be called The Edge of Truth. So I'm excited by that book. I like that book,
and we're all excited as well.
That's got a really strong character in it. That's got almost the male equivalent of Ruby in it. It's a guy called Jerry, who's a homeless ex-serviceman, and Jerry Donahue. And for those of you, where did that name come from? For my male characters, I very often go back to former Scarborough footballers of the 70s and 80s and use their names. Okay, we better let Vic go, haven't we?
We had. We're almost at 8. So thank you to everyone who's joined in. Excellent questions. Lovely to see everybody.
Sorry that I didn't I'm on my phone and therefore I didn't see the comments come up. So
that's okay. It just meant you couldn't overrule me and jump to their questions.
I mean, the advantage of being on my phone is that the picture is just so much better than
I can absolutely 100% confirm that I can see you now, but on your laptop I could not see you.
Naked laptop where I looked like somebody who was sort of in a parallel universe behind a veil of tears, trying to get through, memo to self, buy a new laptop.
No, just buy a plug-in webcam, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I have looked forward to this for ages. We booked this in months ago.
Yeah, we did.
I've been absolutely thrilled and really honoured to be a character as well.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much.
More than welcome. I think given the way that Bobby treated you, I think I'll have him banged up for drunk.
Can I have him under my roses, and then we'll have his cabbage for Christmas dinner. Thanks so much, Mark.
Good way to leave it. All right. Thanks again, Sam.
Good night, everyone. Good luck, Vic, for football.
Yeah. Best of luck, Vic. Take care. Bye-bye.